Hello, welcome to another episode of manwha Recaps. Today we are diving in a newly released manhwa called Reborn in the End. This is an apocalyptic zombies manhwa where our main character is betrayed and killed and regress back 1 month before the apocalypse and have to prepare to face the world end. It begins in a building where we can see a young man tied and hanging from the ceiling. Beneath him is a cage full of zombies. In front of him is a bunch of people and a fat guy who seem to be the boss. Among them is a girl who seemed to be the mastermind behind the young man captured. She called the guy Jiang Xiaozhong, and she tell him that life is meaningless for him since all his friends are dead. He look at her and blame himself for his friend's death in his taught. He scream at her saying she deserves a miserable death. She seemed to enjoy seeing him in this state. She hold tied to the fat boss and telling how Xiaozhong is angry with her. Fat boss told not to be scared since they tortured him slowly. He also added that they will kill him to vent her anger. He remove a remote control from his vest and press on it, which seemed to release the rope, dropping Jiang Xiaozhong in the cage. The zombies pound upon him and started tearing him apart. In his final moment, he swears to himself that if he had another chance, he will make them pay for what they did to him and his friends. Suddenly he woke up on his couch, and in front of him is his girlfriend who is screaming at him. She was angry at him because he didn't add her name as the owner of his house and added that as a proof of his love to her, he must make her the sole owner of his house. Jiang Xiaozhong in his taught say he just died now. He asked himself, could I been reborn before the beginning of the apocalypse? And also added that in his past life he was deceived by Cui Jing. He added that not only she swindled away his inheritance money left to him by his parents, which left him homeless, but also when the global catastrophe occurred which turned most human zombies, which plunged the world into chaos. With the help of his friends which he made during the apocalypse, they managed to create a safe zone and stock on some food supplies. He was again deceived by Cui Jing, pretending desperately running from zombies, but she was working with the enemies to kill them. He swears to himself that he will make them pay, but he also knows that he cannot act impulsive right now. Cui Jing continues screaming at him that he should give her the inheritance money as a sign of affection, and he get annoyed, throws her out of his house. She was surprised because Xiaoyong has never treated her like this. When he closed the door behind her, he looked at the date on the alarm and note that he still have 1 month before chaos begin. Suddenly a system window popped up say, the apocalyptic system is now active and he should complete missions as soon as possible to earn points which can be exchanged for rewards in the system store. The first mission is to own a piece of land, and the second mission is to stock a year's supply of provisions. In his past life, every penny he saved was for the bribe price of Cui Jing, which left malnourished and homeless, but now he got time and resources to prepare. Since zombies will appear in a month time, let's treat ourselves into a stylish restaurant for now. He went grab his phone and look for a 5-star restaurant. He order a table full of style of food. My guy is full of money. When he placed a piece of bread worth 300 yuan in his mouth, the taste was so good that my guy took the Super Saiyan 3. While eating the food, his phone rang and it was Cui Jing best friend, saying he just failed the test. She also added that if he put the house in her name and come with 1 million yuan, she will beg Cui Jing to forgive him and he may get her back. Our MC was pissed at this point and asked her to screw off and cut the call. He sighed in relief and rethink about the system task and note that his first mission is to get a piece of land. He also said that he will build the strongest fortress on this land, and it should be near the forest and water source. He went to a real estate to buy a piece of land and was warmly greeted by an assistant. She asked him if he is here to rent a house. When he wanted to respond to questions, he was suddenly interrupted by a guy who's called the assistant Xiao Ning. He asked her to go and help to move the toilet paper to the back since they got a lot today. He is manager Zhu. She said she has a client to attend to. He was pissed off. He tell that she has forgot everything he taught her and she must go work in the back. He added that a loser like him in cheap clothes can't even afford a toilet. Xiaoyong asked him if he is looking down on him. The manager responds that if he can buy a toilet, he will live stream himself eating poop. Our protagonist with a grin on his face said, all right, you said it. I'll make sure to find you some fresh, steaming and hot ones later, while removing a black card from his pocket. He also said, Miss, I'm not here to rent or sell a house today, but I'm here to buy land. The bystanders were shocked and one asked, buy land? Does he even know how much money that takes? Another added that it is first time I've seen someone buying land. He is a real wealthy person. This is a true big spender. The assistant was happy and said, all right, sir, please come this way. I'll give you a detailed introduction. Manager Zhu was pissed and said, anyone can brag. When it comes time to pay, I don't believe you'll be able to come up with the money. But Xiaoyong didn't pay any attention to him at this point. The assistant brought a document and said, here are the pieces of land we currently have available. You can look over while I explain. Xiaoyong said, no need for all that. I'll tell you my requirements, and you see if there's anything that matches. She replied, go ahead, sir. He said, I want something near mountains and water, preferably with running water. Convenient transportation. Ideally, it should have factories or large buildings on it. Suddenly, Manager Zhu came behind and said, isn't there a piece of land in the East District that fits his requirements? The assistant was shocked and asked Manager Zhu if he is talking about the T-City land. She also added, the factories there are all unfinished projects. She also said that there are unresolved and can't be sold to clients. Manager Zhu looked at Xiaozhong with a superior tone said, this broke guy has such outrageous demands. He's not here to buy land, he's here to cause trouble. Xiaoyong was surprised and asked if the piece of land in the East District really meets all his requirements. She replied, yes, but the factories on it are unfinished, and the construction team leader ran off. He took the document to look at it and thought that it is in a great location and meet all his needs. Putting barbed wire make it easy to defend, and the unfinished factory will save him some money. He handed her back the document and said, I'll take this land. Can we sign the contract and make the payment now? She was surprised and said, sir, you really want to buy this land with the unfinished factories? He replied, yes, of course. Let's sign the contract and make the payment quickly. Someone is waiting to eat some fresh poop later. Next, we see Manager Zhu holding the payment receipt in his hand, while trembling said 300,000 yuan as down payment on a land with unfinished factory. He also added that he can't believe it. Our protagonist tapped him on the shoulders and said, buddy, I've made the payment. Now it's your turn to perform. As long as you enjoy it, I'll send you a super chat later. The bystanders were shouting at him to honor the deal and that they will live stream it. One bystanders called him fatty and said that his stomach isn't feeling well today, but he promised that it will be fresh. They asked him to hurry up while our MC was leaving the building. A system screen pop up showing he has complete the first mission. That is own a piece of land. While exiting the building, he was thinking about the second part of the mission, which is to stock on supply that can last for a year. He passed by Li Shuxing. I am calling him Fat Boss since the beginning. He passed by him and didn't notice. Fat Boss was surprised seeing him exiting a real estate building and asked himself what Xiaoyong came here for. When he went inside the building, he was surprised seeing people forcing Manager Zhu to eat poop while others were streaming it. The scene shift to Cui Jing doing her makeup when suddenly her phone rang and it was Fat Boss. She replied with a soft voice and said if he is thinking about her, but Fat Boss has none of it, and in a surprised voice he said, did you know Jiang Xiaoyong came to the real estate company today to buy a piece of land? She stood up in shock and asking him, where did he get the money? Fat Boss said he made a down payment of 300,000 yuan, and he thinks that money must be the bribe money. She was angry and said, that bastard dared to use my money. Fat Boss asked her to calm down and to go and see Jing Xiaojiang and ask him what is going on. But she was still screaming and said, that bastard dared to use my money. I will definitely expose him online today. Guys, this girl definitely have balls. The scene shift to Xiaoyong in his house. He was thinking how the construction and food supplies will cause a lot of money when suddenly there was a loud bang on his door, shocking him. When he opened the door and saw it Cui Jing and her friend, he asked her what is she doing here. She replied in an angry tone and said, what do you mean? How dare you spend my money? He said, what are you talking about? And with an angry tone, she pointed at him and said, don't think I don't know you used the bride price money to buy land. I'm telling you, the bride price money is mine. Since you bought the land with my money, the land is mine. He looks at her with disgust and asked her if she is insane. He removed a bunch of money from his pocket, tapped it on her shoulder and said, Let me tell you, I have plenty of money, but I won't spend a single cent on you. Don't think I don't know about you and Li Shuxiong's affair. Chu Jing was shocked and asked herself, what's going on? How could he possibly know about me and Lu Shuxiong? He was about to close the door when Chu Jing's friend was trying to calm the situation. She said, "Oh, you two calm down. It's just a misunderstanding between a couple." Xiaozhong at the door said, "Misunderstanding my ass, there's no misunderstanding. And she's not my girlfriend. She's with that old man Li Shuxiong." He asked them to get lost. He also added that just looking at her annoys him and closed the door. Chu Jing was still thinking, no way. How does he know about this? We were always very discreet when we booked rooms. Chu Jing's friend was surprised and said, this is a big deal. Why didn't you tell me in advance? Did you really get involved with that middle-aged man Li Shuxiong? Chu Jing exclaimed and asked, we just booked rooms a few times. This situation is out of control. Let's go back and think of a plan. Chu Jing replied, yeah, that's all we can do. But she taught in a sinister way said, Cui Jing, since you've messed things up with Jiang Xiaoyong, I'm not going to hold back. The next day, Xiaozhong went to the construction site and handed the plan to the construction manager and said, this is the factory I want to renovate, and asked how long will it take. The construction manager looks at the plan. And on the plan they were reinforce the walls, build guard towers, install Texas barbed wire, thicken the steel blast-proof doors, and add bulletproof tempered glass and more. The construction manager looks at the plan and said, young man, can I ask, which force have you offended? Xiaoyong replied, don't ask too much. Knowing too much won't be good for you. Just tell me how much it will cost to complete this work in a month. The construction manager answered, it can't be done in a month. Xiaoyong was pissed and asked him, stop talking. If you don't do it, there are plenty who will. The construction manager forced a smile and said, no, boss, what I mean is, it will cost more. Xiaoyong looked at him and said, name your price. The manager said 20 million, and he also said, you need to give us 5 million as a deposit first. That way we can start working. Xiaoyong answered, all right, I'll transfer the money to you within a week. Start the work now. The manager was surprised. Xiaoyong sighed and tapped his shoulder and said, it's okay. Don't worry about me not paying. If I don't pay, this land is yours. And the manager agreed. Suddenly someone called him behind, and it was Chu Jing's friend, Wen Shuya. I guess, guys. It's her name. She asked him what is he doing here. She stumbled on him trying to make a move. He looked at her with anger and was thinking how in his past life Chu Jing and her scammed all his family fortune. He was thinking how he will make them pay double this time. He asked with a sinister tone, what is she doing here? She tried to change the subject by saying, Brother Jiang, is this the land you bought? The scenery is so nice. Are you planning to build a villa here? He pushed her away and said, what I build is none of your business. Xiaoyong ignored her and continued monitoring the construction. She was thinking, what's going on? Jiang Xiaoyong, this loser, is acting strange today. Normally, just touching my hand would make him blush and his heart race. Today, I even deliberately showed off a bit, but he has no reaction at all. While Xiaozhong was walking away minding his business, she was still thinking, no way. I can't miss this golden opportunity. Since Cui Jing has fallen out with him, if I can push Cui Jing out, this land will be mine. Next, we are taken back to our MC house where he is thinking about ways to earn money rapidly. He thought that since the apocalypse is imminent anyway, he should sell his house to several people and earn a big amount of money. Our MC was thinking when suddenly someone banged at his door. He knew it was downstairs neighbor, Grandpa Li. That old man got some money, and he owned the first and second floor. He had been trying to buy his third floor for years now. Xiaoyong was thinking that he originally wanted to use this house as his marriage home. That is why he didn't want to sell it. Since then, this old man has been causing countless troubles for him, like painting his door, piling up trash, placing funeral wreaths, and jamming the lock. He used all kinds of dirty tricks. When he opened the door, that old man started shouting at him that he was out clubbing again last night. Xiaoyong refuted his accusations, but Grandpa Li had none of it and kept shouting. At this point, Xiaoyong has enough and said, "Stop it. You're just eyeing my house. I've had enough. I'll sell it to you." Grandpa Li, beaming with hope and surprise, asked Xiaoyong if he really means it. Xiaoyong replied, "Yes, but I have a condition." Grandpa Li asks what condition? Xiaoyong replied, "I won't hand over the house until 6 months, so I need to leave here for another 6 months. But before that you need to transfer 5 million so I can pay the mortgage for my new house." Xiaoyong, seeing the look on his face, slowly closed the door and said, "If you don't agree, then forget it." Grandpa Li grabbed the door and said, "Fine, but we need to sign a contract to prevent you from backing out." Xiaoyong, with a dark face, was thinking that this old bastard can just wait to die in his house. He agreed with Grandpa Li, and when Grandpa Li left, he made some calculation. There was 3 million from the loan he got from the bank and 5 million from Grandpa Li. That makes a total of 8 millions. He knew that the most important thing to do is to complete the system task and claim the rewards. Later, our protagonist went to the supermarket to buy some supplies and complete the second part of the system task at the same time. Xiaoyong was piling up on supplies in the supermarket that a bystander said that he is another fool thinking that the end of the world is coming. While doing that, he opened the system store and noticed that what are more important in this time are enhancing attributes. While scrolling, he also saw an item called the protagonist supply box, which causes exactly 10 points. He decided to purchase it since he only have 10 points. 10 points were deducted, and a glowing mystery box appeared in front of him. When he opened it, he obtained a level 1 space ring. It can store up to 500 cubic meters and time stop within it. He was surprised that his first draw was such a golden item. He was even more surprised by the standstill effect the ring had on time, which meant that if he put perishable goods inside, they would not spoil. With all missions complete, his next task was to store supplies for 10 years. Still in the supermarket, a guy with 2 guards accompanying him came in and asked for the person who was causing trouble to show himself. Xiaoyong immediately recognized him and called him Yang Tao. He was part of a gang bullies back in high school. He pointed at Xiaoyong and told him to put the supplies back, or else he would make things unpleasant. Xiaoyong looked at him and asked if he hadn't changed since high school. He also asked if this was the way a supermarket like this should treat its customers. Yang Tao was furious and demanded that Xiaoyong pay for them immediately. An hour passed by, and once the item had been counted, Yang Tao asked Xiaoyong to pay. He was shocked when the machine said, "Transaction successful." He turned around to leave when Xiaoyong suddenly stopped him. "Where did you think you were going?" Xiaoyong asked. He demanded an apology because Yang Tao had been so rude earlier. Otherwise, he would return all the goods. Yang Tao was furious and asked Xiaoyong if he was looking for trouble. At this point, even bystanders were urging Yang Tao to apologize, as he had looked down on Xiaoyong and been extremely rude. Some even added that if he didn't apologize, they would never come back to the store. Xiaoyong added that if Yang Tao apologized sincerely, he would buy 10 times more. Xiaoyong asked Yang Tao to bring the POS machine to demonstrate his sincerity. When Yang Tao saw the amount, he was shocked. He immediately apologized. When Yang Tao bowed down and apologized, Xiaoyong touched his head and asked him not to be reckless in the future. As Xiaoyong turned around to leave, Yang Tao stopped him, calling him Brother Yong, and asked him about the purpose of buying so many supplies. Xiaoyong replied that it was none of his business. He also added that he was planning a big deal. Yang Tao jumped on the opportunity and said that the stock in the supermarket warehouse wouldn't be enough for him. He offered to find a wholesaler for Xiaoyong. Yang Tao called a man and told him that he had found a big client for him. They went to meet the wholesaler at the rendezvous point, when a car parked beside them and a man in a suit stepped out of the car. Yang Tao called out to Brother Zhe and asked him if he remembered Xiaoyong, one of their classmates. He looked at Xiaoyong while blowing cigarette smoke on his face and said, "Oh, I remembered him, the guy with a bit of backbone."